Perched high above the blacktop, it seems almost unreal, impossibly far, and yet just beyond reach. The desires that it instills are basic: power, freedom, and conquest. The dream that it inspires is of shedding all earthbound limitations. And it beckons to all who dare mount their assault. For those who aspire to rule the skies, taking flight is only the beginning.
It's all about having supreme confidence, and not many guys have it.
You own the ball, you own the game, you own the guy who's guarding you, and you can actually play him like a puppet.
One bounce dribble out of Jordan. Michael in from the left side, jammed it right.
You don't last in this league long by being timid or intimidated by the people you compete against.
Get tough, X. Get tough. Don't let him push you.
McDaniel with a facial.
Saying, move over, buddy. You know, it's two of us here.
Way rock the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Just like Tyson. When he walk in the ring, he walk in the ring to take you out.
These are people who can really just actually dunk on you, just don't care about you, your well-being. They would dunk in your face and just make you like it.
NBA Entertainment presents the Super Slams of the NBA. Basketball's formative years, the NBA's greatest players like George Mikan of the Minneapolis Lakers and Bob Pettit of the St. Louis Hawks shunned the stuff shot for fear of repercussions from their rough and tumble opponents.
I mean, I could dunk, but I would never even think of doing it. You never saw anybody take off from the foul line and try to dunk. You did that, somebody would just put you right in the third row.
In those rugged early years, an attempted dunk was a sign of disrespect, and it would be met with the swiftest of punishments.
Well, every time you left your feet, you were endangering yourself because they'd take your legs right out. Players certainly could dunk the ball, but if you dunked the ball, your man didn't like it, and you would pay for it the next time.
But despite this shot's perilous nature, the indomitable Minneapolis Lakers still dare to practice this rather unique way of putting the ball in the basket.
We had guys that could dunk it just as well, but maybe not as high now. When we would warm up, we would have guys like Pollard and Mickelson and myself and a whole bunch all go up and dunk the ball.
Slowly gaining acceptance, the dunk made its way from the practice court to prime-time action. But this was only the beginning. For in the collegiate ranks, fans were flocking to arenas to catch a glimpse of a dunking prodigy by the name of Wilt Chamberlain.
When I was in junior high school, no one ever seen one dunk a basketball. And I started just throwing balls down to the basket, but that was a whole new thing.
Upon entering the league in 1959, this brazen rookie not only ushered the slam into prominence, but also utilized it as a devastating offensive weapon that could not help but command attention.
The best dunk I ever saw was when Chamberlain would go up there and dunk that ball. That was sensational because Chamberlain would slam it, really slam it down with tremendous force.
Like Chamberlain, Baltimore's bruising forward, Gus Johnson, was another dynamic dunking force whose overwhelming physical skills astonished the opposition.
Gus was probably the most spectacular dunker during my era because he could dunk from 5 or 6 feet away from the basket going by the basket.
A power slammer with an imposing presence, Johnson attacked the basket with a reckless abandon, and very few dared stand in his way. In contrast, high-flying Laker legend Elgin Baylor made his way to the basket less with force than finesse. While Baylor's contemporary, fluid performer Connie Hawkins also captured the imagination by bringing a stylish grace to the art form.
To me, it was a form of expression. And a lot of times you can be playing and come up with a dunk that could turn the momentum around in the game. That was important.
Connie was the ultimate finesse. He was the first that I'd ever seen with the huge hands that could glide and dunk and stuff all kind of different ways.
Leaving his personal mark on dunking artistry, Hawkins astounded the basketball world with his distinct flair for the game. But though the art of dunking had begun to flourish, the NBA mainstream was still dominated by the traditional. With the perennial champion Boston Celtics setting a conservative tone, some of basketball's more daring innovators began to look elsewhere to find an outlet for their creative energies. The Offbeat American Basketball Association would provide an enticing alternative as these basketball mavericks thrived in this free-spirited new league.
The ABA was a run-and-gun league. You had guys who liked to run, who liked to get out, and you know, he got a chance to just go to the hoop and invented different ways to throw the ball down.
The pace was fast and furious as new-look dunkers filled the airwaves.
One of the challenges of the league, of the ABA, was not to follow, you know, the precedent that had been established with the NBA, not just be a carbon copy of the NBA, be something different.
The ABA had found acceptance from its more established predecessor, due in large part to its larger-than-life symbol, Julius Erving. Quickly demonstrating his pioneering style, Dr. J made frequent and memorable house calls to the opposition's basket.
I felt if I got near the basket that I could score at anybody. And the first way was to try and score over. If that lane opens up, you go in there and, you know, you ram the ball.
Irving's supremacy would be tested in 1976 when the acrobatic David Thompson vied for slam dunk preeminence in professional basketball's first dunk contest. Both men would leave the audience breathless, but in dramatic fashion, the good doctor would have the final word.
It was really a showcase for the league. It probably still, from an emotional standpoint, was the best one that there's ever been.
When the ABA was absorbed by the NBA, Dr. J faced yet another challenge.
The pressures on a Julius Erving and the impact he had on the NBA. Who is this Dr. J who wins these dunk contests and does all of these things?
Joining the Philadelphia 76ers, Erving wasted no time in making his impact felt as he boldly announced his arrival, making the NBA Finals in his first year and doing it his way.
95% of the things that I did on the basketball court, I had done
before.
I really considered those routine plays, although I know they were beyond the boundaries that one would call fundamental. I mean, it was not a risky shot for me to go in and dunk the ball backward.
Julius turns on the crowd.
Immediately attracting a devoted following, Irving was embraced by even the worthiest of opponents.
See, I didn't want him to make me look so bad, so when he dunked it, I'd catch him in the air. You know, for everybody can like say, ooh, he's a nice guy. Not letting Doc drop.
Bringing the art of slam dunking to new heights, Irving was now the game's most recognizable figure.
When you went on this road with Julius, it was like traveling with a rock star. If Dr. J got to the open court and dunked a basketball, it didn't matter what the score was. Everybody in the stands felt that they got their money's worth. They saw the doctor.
After an 8-year hiatus, Gatorade would resurrect the slam dunk contest in Denver. And once again, Dr. J was the main attraction.
Number 6, captain of the Philadelphia 76ers, Julius the Doctor.
Competing against a hungry young legion of dunkers, this living legend would perform with typical brilliance. And although Larry Nance would defeat him in the finals, Irving had inspired a new generation of aerial assaulters to whom he would now pass the torch of dunking mastery.
I think it elevates any team when you have a guy who's exciting, he dunks, it gets the crowd going, gets your teammates going, get the coach going. It's, I think, an inspirational type of move.
When he exploded onto the scene in 1982, Dominique Wilkins was aptly nicknamed the human highlight film. And in playing to rave reviews, Atlanta's spectacular forward had the league's full attention. But Neat was not alone.
Davis. Oh, what a follow. King to Woolridge. He may put the move on. Oh, left-handed.
It's like ecstasy almost. I mean, when I see an opening to the basket, they say my eyes get really big. But I'm going to tell you something that's kind of ironic. People ask me, well, do you know what you're going to do before you get to the basket? I never know. It's a rhythm thing.
Steve Johnson.
And this feeling of spontaneity was shared by others.
My body be a lot of different ways when I be in the air, and I never know how I'm going to land or how I'm going to go up, but it just always have worked out good for me.
And though the dunk was still a free-flowing art form, it was now also a disarming psychological weapon.
Dunking is such an overpowering way to score a basket. People can see a dunk, and that dunk would almost, although it only means 2 points, but it always seemed to be 6 points.
Even as a rookie, Jordan's immense talent was apparent to all as he dazzled audiences and confounded his opponents with a vast array of show-stopping dunks.
Back to Jordan. Oh! Jordan with a super move.
It's like a big juice of energy, like somebody push your electricity button, and it gives you a lift, and it takes some away from that team.
Also taking the NBA by storm in the mid-'80s was Philadelphia's one-man wrecking crew, Charles Barkley. Terrorizing the opposition en route to the basket, Barkley, too, sent a message with every thunderous jam.
It's just a question of coming through. You know what you can do, just go out and do it. Let it flow.
A graduate of the University of Houston's Phi Slamma Jamma dunking fraternity, Drexler easily made the transition to the pros, using his full repertoire of slams as his personal calling card. Infusing arenas with a contagious electricity, this majestic group of aerial voyagers left their indelible mark on the evolution of the dunk and motivated their peers to do the same.
Dominique from the outside, no. Just there, drops it, Orlando.
when it came time to bring contest-style dunks into game action, few could match the mid-air exploits of Dominique Wilkins. But there are times when the virtuoso performances of players like Wilkins are only a part of a larger artistic collaboration.
Jackson with the ball. Price the bounce down the middle, and Nancy rams it home, and he's out.
When I hit the floor, I try to create for my other teammates. And I love to throw the alley-oop pass, and that's the most exciting play to me.
Considered by many to be basketball's most captivating connection, the alley-oop is perhaps the game's most compelling evidence that an unspoken language between players does exist.
We don't really have to communicate verbally on the court. We're able to just read each other naturally, and I think that's the exciting thing about it.
Slamming may be an area of expertise usually reserved for bigger players. But despite their smaller stature, this group of men are giants in their field. And none stand taller than 5'7" Spud Webb.
You have to have a strong mental capacity to put up with a lot of stuff at a smaller size, but if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will.
On one magical afternoon in 1986, Spud would dramatically display that belief in himself as he returned home to Dallas and turned the Gatorade Slam Dunk Contest into his personal showcase. Spud's stunning performance would take a special place in slam dunk history. But he was not the first to bring high drama to its yearly championship. A year earlier, Dominique Wilkins and rookie Michael Jordan had faced off in one of the contest's most spectacular mid-air confrontations. Dominique would emerge victorious, Jordan would have his chance in 1987 as an injured Dominique watched him claim his first slam dunk crown.
And now, here's Jordan ready to take off. Got to be at 55. He took off just a little inside that free throw line. He went straight to the basket, just like he was floating on air. He goes in straight, goes up in the air. Now he's sideways. Look at the air. Look at the hang time. Look at the flying motion.
Fittingly, Jordan would first defend his title in front of his hometown fans in Chicago, where the stage was finally set for his much-anticipated rematch with Dominique.
Perfect score of 50 on that dunk from Dominique Wilkins.
Well, we're still even as Jordan goes up and takes it way down.
A two-handed windmill jam.
My brother Dominique, playing against Milwaukee, they throw the ball to Dominique on the wing, and the whole team collapses on him.
Down low for Dominique. Baseline drive. Dominique. Oh, my goodness. Did you see that jam? I don't know how he did that. Dominique.
Bob Lanier had covered the rim, and I turned sideways, and I turned back around in the air and dunked it on him. That still sticks out in my mind.
I just know, anytime Chicago comes in town, you have to leave your family and everybody else home. You don't want to be embarrassed.
Now the Bulls beat the pressure. Jordan from Vincent. Look out.
And alley-oop went up in the air on the fast break, and all of a sudden, Jordan went up about 10 or 12 more notches than I did. Not ashamed to say, you stand there in awe.
I still have vivid memories of a Dr. J tomahawk dunk.
Eaton had stayed back, but here comes Irving anyway.
He went up over the top of me and came crashing down and took the rim off the backboard and just kind of left me standing there with Spalding across my head.
People don't realize is I played 15 minutes that night and I fouled out. And I was a little bit upset because I thought I was getting some bad calls. And I just needed some way to show my anger out.
Kemp picks Mark Jackson, gets the give and go. Oh!
It was no way that we thought he could dunk the basketball, but proved us all wrong.
Oh, please, let's see that again 100 times.
I think it was one when Chambers went over Mark Jackson. I mean, that was an awesome dunk.
2-on-1. KJ to Chambers. Damn! Oh, boy. He went right up Mark Jackson.
When he hit Mark, he was already high. But when he hit Mark, he went a little higher, and he just tore the rim down.
Earlier on, I saw a guy named David Thompson. Somebody on his team took a shot, and the ball bounced so high off the rim. I don't think I'll really be exaggerating when I say the guy went up nose high to the rim.
Dominique, it's a tip jam. He comes over about 2 of his teammates back and just jump right over one hand, just rolls it down through the hoop. I mean, it's just awesome. You see that, you be like, God.
Dominique Wilkins, look out!
I'll tell you a story that I think summed the whole thing up. We was playing in Chicago in Salt Lake. They switched and put John Stockton on it. And he turned around and dunked on Stockton. So some guy got up and almost followed him down the sideline and said, hey, Jordan, pick on somebody your own size. So next time down the floor, he dunked on Mel Turpin and went over and looked at the guy and said, was he big enough?
My favorite dunk of all time would probably be the dunk that Dr. J had over Michael Cooper.
Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Dr. J just kind of like cuffed it and just glided to the basket. It was the most awesome dunk that I've seen in a basketball game.